Hello everyone, welcome to the Ozark Outpost. This is Global War 85, Operation Knox, Warsaw Pact 1.1. Okay, our first order of business is to determine random events, or the Warsaw Pact random event. Okay, bam! I rolled the die and it came up Habsburg Tears. I'm sure everyone remembers, but let's just have a quick rundown to refresh our memories. Here's their event rules right here. Southern Yugoslavia is controlled by Warsaw Pact and signs a defense treaty. The Yugoslav Navy joins Southern Yugoslavia. Northern Yugoslavia is controlled by NATO and also signs a defense treaty. Northern Yugoslavia gets one minor army base, one minor air base, and one additional mechanized infantry. Southern Yugoslavia must make a border attack against Northern Yugoslavia on the first turn. Northern Yugoslavia can respond in kind on turn one, but they're not required to, and either side can make a border attack on any future turns, but again, they are not required to. Both sides, when they do make their attack, do so with a mountain terrain penalty. Each side can send one unit of military aid per turn with arms sales discount. There's no intervention allowed or blockades allowed. Once Warsaw Pact and NATO are at war, if Southern Yugo and Northern Yugo are still controlled by each, they sign a military pact. If one side controls both when they go to war, that side gets the military pact for both zones. In the event that Southern Yugoslavia captures Northern Yugoslavia, and NATO later on in the game takes Northern Yugoslavia back from the Warsaw Pact alliance, then on its next turn, Warsaw Pact gets 3 dice for theater release. And then bonus income or bonuses if Warsaw Pact possesses both Yugoslavias, Romania, Bulgaria, and Greece. They get 1 free light infantry to place in the place units phase. And then Warsaw Pact can get a wartime income bonus of +2 each if they possess Southern Yugoslavia and or Northern Yugoslavia. So as I said, no changes there from what you're used to. Habsburg Tears is pretty well dialed in as a random event. Okay, so now that we have that covered, we move on to regular stuff, which is going to be rolling for tech. Warsaw Pact starts the game with 2 major army bases, so they're going to try AMD and chemical. Yes, chemical, no to AMD. So chemical goes up to stage 2. There we are. Okay, next order of business, diplomacy. Okay, this is a new concept. Well, the diplomacy concept existed in 1.5, but it has been completely rewritten for version 2. So we walk over here to our handy dandy cheat sheet, and we see here that a major faction may use 1 free die per turn to try to sign a defense treaty with a minor it already has a cooperation treaty with. Or it can save the free die to try to use with a paid die for something else that can't happen right now. So Warsaw Pact is going to use their free diplomacy die. Right there. And they are going to try to convince Muammar Gaddafi here in Libya. You see the handshake there. They have a cooperation treaty with Libya currently. Honecker is going to try to talk Gaddafi into a defense treaty. So let's see what happens. He needs 10 or higher. A 1 is about as far away from it as you can get. Gaddafi said not only no, he said hell no. I'm going to send the fleas from all of my camels to your bedroom. He wants no part of Warsaw Pact right now. Okay, so the next thing is military aid and purchase. Now, per the Habsburg Tiers event, as you recall, they can send 1 unit of military aid per turn with the arms sales discount. Southern Yugoslavia, you see there, is worth 2. Something else that has been recently done in version 2 rules is that unit costs have been reduced. We're going to try this out the simplest way. Everybody plays these games. I don't care what game it is. Everybody says we need more money so we can buy more stuff. The easiest way to put more money into a game is to reduce the cost of the units that you're purchasing and building. Lower cost, more money to spend. So, fighters in version 2, their cost has gone from 8 down to 6. So with the arms sales discount of 2, they're going to aid Southern Yugoslavia a fighter for 4. For themselves, Warsaw Pact is going to buy a pair of airborne, who have also had their cost reduced. Airborne now cost 3. So 6 for a pair of airborne, and Warsaw Pact has chose to save the remaining 7. Okay, so that's military aid and purchase. Now, you recall from the event rules on the first turn, Southern Yugoslavia is required to make a border attack on Northern Yugoslavia. So they're going to go in on the border attack with everything they can, which means the SPAG will be staying behind because there's no air units for it to engage in Northern Yugoslavia. So there's going to be 4 MBTs, a field artillery, and a fighter. On the defense side, there is a SPAG, which will get to shoot at the fighter. They also have a field artillery and 4 mechs. So, first off, we have first strike at 2 by the Southern Yugoslav field artillery. That is a miss. Okay, now we have a first strike by the Northern Yugoslav field artillery. Defending, he gets a 3. That is a miss. Now the SPAG for Northern Yugoslavia gets its first strike at a 2. Oh, wait a minute. It didn't matter. Didn't change anything. They were all clear misses, but I forgot to mention. In version 2 of the rules, one of the things we have done, or we're testing anyway, is eliminating all exceptions to terrain combat penalties. If in version 1.5, artillery class units were exempt from the mountain terrain penalty, for instance. That's no longer the case. So the rolls they were looking for were -1s. As I said, they were clear misses, so it doesn't change anything that's happening. But this also affects the SPAG because it is a land unit. So the SPAG will be doing its defense shot at 1 instead of the normal 2. And look at that. He rolled the 1 and got a hit. So, first strike, the Southern Yugoslavian fighter becomes casualty. He's out of there. Okay, so now the 4 MBTs make their attack. They're rolling 3 instead of 4 because of the mountains. And they got 1 hit. All right, now 4 mechs respond for, now I don't know what I was thinking. Defenders don't take terrain penalties. So it didn't change anything, but it just, slipped my mind. Terrain penalties are for the attacker, not the defender. So here we go with the mechs. We have 2 hits by the defending mechs. All right, so they're going to hit the field artillery and 1 MBT. Southern Yugoslavia came off on the short end of that for sure. Yeah, the Croats and Bosnians and so forth in northern Yugoslavia said, we don't want to be messed with. Okay, that's the end of the border attack. No other combats. There isn't going to be any non-combat movement. So we go to place units. Get over here. And the 2 airborne will be built here at the major army base in East Germany. All right, now Southern Yugoslavia gets a recruitment roll. The 3 won't do it. They had to have a 1. Okay, so now we have military aid delivery. I guess it's probably a pretty good thing Warsaw Pact sent them a fighter to replace the one they lost. Okay, aid is delivered. Collect money. You see Warsaw Pact is there at 17 IPP. So 17 plus the 7 that they saved is going to put, so it looks like 24 in their bank for next turn. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and cover this now. Looking at the Warsaw Pact dashboard, you may notice there are 2 advisor markers on here. Well, that's another version 2 change. Now, all major factions have 2 advisors on their dashboard, including NATO here, which in the previous version of the game did not get to have an advisor, period. I'll get into what these new advisors might be doing later on during gameplay. All right, Ozark Outpost. Over and out.